Welcome to Golf Industry Guru and the Gig Podcast, where we interview the best and brightest golf and hospitality leaders on the planet. On today's episode, you will learn some proven real-world solutions that'll help you and your team solve some of your biggest golf business challenges. So stick around for some tips, tools, and training to get you, your people, and your business powered on. Here's your host, Scott Massey.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Gig Podcast. I'm your host, Scott Massey, back here again for another episode, joined by a familiar face. For all of those of you in Canada, you will know Luke Nieuwland very well, the co-owner of Whisky Run Golf Club in Port Colborne, Ontario. Also a co-founder of Birrdi, which we're going to talk a little bit about a little later on. But Luke, welcome back to the Gig Podcast. Great to have you with us.
Thanks, Scott. An absolute pleasure. I really appreciate you having me on here, man. This is great.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I always enjoy our chats, and you've been on the show before, and since then we were chatting a little bit about the success you've been having with the loyalty program that you guys have implemented at your club. And so I thought it was a great topic for us to talk about here on the podcast because, I think there's so many people out there that in theory love the idea of having a successful loyalty program, but they're really not sure how to go about implementing it successfully. And you guys have. It's made a big change to your business. It's really impacted the bottom line. Mm-hmm. I think guys often think, how do I do this? Am I just going to be, paying out loyalty on the revenue I already have?
Yeah.
We just talked about that word cannibalize a little bit ago offline before we started here. But, maybe for those people in our audience who don't know you as well as the rest of us, tell us a little bit about you, your club, and your journey so far at Whisky Run with this loyalty program.
So a little background on myself. Our family's owned Whisky Run Golf Club since 1989, so we're on 33 years now. So it was my father who started it, and I was 7 years old and started working right away, fixing divots, repairing ball marks. When I was a little kid, I remember the early mornings, and I rember hating the early mornings when I was little. I got to get up. Luckily,
still do, right?
I still do to a certain degree. Although having the little ones gets us up, like very well. So I'm up early now all the time, which is good. I'm learning to love it. Yeah, but so I've been growing up in the golf business most of my life. I'm 38 now. 38, yeah. Jeez, where's time go? Yeah, 38 years old.
Don't worry, I've got the
So I've been really in it my entire life. I've lived in every aspect of it, from the maintenance crew, from serving the bar, from even barbecue guy, being the kitchen, making burgers, flipping burgers. But mainly my job has been in the pro shop, and in the last a bunch of years, probably last decade, when I've really kind of come on to the golf course, I focus more on the golf and the marketing side of things. So that's been my key role, I would say, with the golf course. So that's gone really well. One thing that I wanted to do, which is what we're talking about today, is put in a loyalty program, like a loyalty club, and it's something I tried for years, for a long time, failed a lot of times at doing it. But I'm happy to be on the show right now and to actually have a successful one that I can share, because I know if I was talking to myself years ago, I wish I would told myself this and shared this with myself. So,
no, that's awesome. I mean, I know it's working really well for you guys. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about the features and benefits of the program. Like, just give us a little overview of what it's all about, and how does that benefit the consumer?
Yeah, I think really it's maybe take a step back and look at loyalty programs as a whole, right? I'm not aware of one that's actually done at scale in golf. And like I said before, I wanted to do it for years. I've tried it. I've tried all the ones that people told me that would work. If it had the sort of inkling of it working, I tried it. But and I was trying it because I know they do work when they're executed properly. They do work. You look at something like, in Canada, Tim Hortons, right? Tim Hortons, they've gone all in on their loyalty program with their app. That's in Canada, but like for the people down in the States, you look at like a Walgreens, right? Walgreens. And when you think of Walgreens, you think of, maybe more of the demographic of golf, the older crew, right? I mean, that's what they're getting, but Walgreens extremely successful with their loyalty program. So like we know it works. And over the years, I was not able to sort of execute on that. And now I'm finally can, we never given anything back over the years, and now we can. So now, like as a quick tidbit on the program, I give 10% back, 10% cash back on everything you spend at our golf course at Whisky Run Golf Club.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So how exactly does that work? So basically, if I come into the golf shop and I'm paying for my green fee in a cart, and maybe I'm picking up some merchandise and my bill comes out to $235, I'm getting $23.50 back cash, right? Just like that, right off the top.
So it's paid back in what we call whiskey bucks. So you get whiskey bucks. Like the opt-in is super simple. It's all phone number based. It's all mobile number based. We use Square. And so it's done right after the transaction, not post. A lot of the programs I've used in the past, you have to add in their customer details before the transaction. And it's always like, okay, now it's got to be their email or their first name, last name. And we spell these things wrong. We get things like misspell, do these things. And it's difficult as like the phone number is just, 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10, you're going to get it, So
absolutely,
that's where the kind of opt-in process, along the question you're asking, is very seamless and it's quick, it's fast, right?
Yeah,
and that's an important part, and we can get into more of that in a little bit here.
Okay, so super interesting. So these whiskey bucks, you accumulate these whiskey bucks within the loyalty program, and then you can redeem those for anything at the club or certain things or anything.
We don't restrict. So I don't restrict what they can earn points on. I don't restrict what they can redeem those whiskey bucks on. I mean, a golfer wants to spend those whiskey bucks on food and bev, they can do it. They want to spend it on an event, they can do it. They want to spend it on golf, they can do it.
Amazing. So like my example a minute ago there, they would have earned $23.50 in whiskey bucks, which then could have been redeemed in the restaurant later that day when they're having some beers and nachos with their friends after the round of golf.
Absolutely.
Very cool. Very cool.
Man.
Now, from an accounting standpoint, can you talk a little bit about how, you pay for those whiskey bucks, if you will, on the back end? I think one of the things that, operators sometimes worry about is that they're just going to be giving out, rewards on revenue they already have. So let's talk a little bit about that. And let's talk about how, from an accounting standpoint, you account for these rewards.
Yeah. So that's a big question. So what, in terms of my golf course with Square, because we're using the Square point of sale, and when we use Square Loyalty, they said when you use the loyalty, on average, the golfer is going to spend 30% more than someone who doesn't opt in. So our goal, like my goal was like, okay, they have all this data. I'm going to trust that they know their numbers. So if I give 10% back, I know these guys are going to spend on average 20% more than somebody who doesn't. So that's where we kind of got it. And with Square, I can also track their spend across all channels, right? So whether it's food and bev, retail, the tee times with Birrdi, or with on my website through my online store, all that stuff. So that's how I'm able to kind of, as a side note, able to track all that. So when we get down to like in terms of how did it increase revenue, how's it profitable? Well, so from 2019 to 2020, our revenue increased by 57%. And when we go 2019 to 2021, we actually increased by 77%. So, I mean, in terms of paying for it, like the program pays for itself. I like to look at it like this, right? So, and I'll use some of the data that we've been able to capture because of the program. So let's say you've got two golfers, right? And so in 2021, an average non-loyalty club member spend at my golf course $105. So these two guys are sitting at right in front of you at the pro shop. Scott, think you're sitting at the pro shop. Guy walks up. He's got a little number over his head. It says 105, non-loyalty. Loyalty golfer comes in and he sits beside him and he's got a little number on his head. It says 333. Which one are you going to choose?
Obviously the 333.
Right? Easy decision. So like these are the numbers that I got from implementing this loyalty program. I know that last year, a loyalty club member spent on average 217% more than a non-loyalty club.
That's amazing. I mean, the figures are pretty compelling. There's no doubt. How do you think, obviously the pandemic has obviously helped the bottom line, or I should maybe say the top line of golf courses anyways, over the last couple of years. And so have you guys been able to kind of, extrapolate that out a little bit and get a bit of an understanding of how much of the growth of the business has been COVID, how much of it's been loyalty program? I mean, it's a tough question, obviously, but has there been any sort of analysis done by the team?
Well, I mean, the loyalty program was started at the beginning of 2020. And does COVID have an effect on like our overall top line revenue? Sure. But to have those numbers go back to back like that, 57, 77% over the 2 years, like this, you can really, without diving into it too deep, like I could see on the whole that it's having an effect, especially when you see the average spend between the two, right? I can only go off the data that I have. And when I know that a loyalty club member is going to spend 217% more, like my main goal is to get any golfer to become a loyalty club member.
I think the other thing too that I think about a little bit is just the fact of it probably doesn't really matter how much of it was pandemic related or how much of it was loyalty program related. I mean, as things start to cool down a little bit as we come out the other side of the pandemic and, life gets back to normal and people have other things they can do with their time besides golf. Mm-hmm. I mean, what a great tool for you guys to have to use it to your advantage. So, bring those people back more frequently as more options come about. So maybe that's just something for the audience to think about a little bit is just, what a great tool to have in your tool chest as maybe things go back to pre-pandemic levels of golf.
Well,
right?
yeah,
so something for the audience to think about.
I mean, I couldn't have scripted it any better to happen at that point when I was able to deploy that program and the increase in golf because I was able to capture that golfer data so easily. It's going to allow me to remarket to those golfers, right? And it does that automatically. Like through the Square loyalty program, that automatically sends them a text when they earn a reward. And then I get them in the marketing and I can remarket these guys because what's going to happen then, that's how we're going to increase the average spend. And that's how we're going to increase the number of visits. Right. And so this is like kind of a good segue into the next part of it, which people had their reservations. They talk about it's going to cannibalize. I'm just cutting my foot off kind of thing. So in 2019, well, I couldn't track any of this because the software I was using was trash. I couldn't do it. So in 2020, when I was able to deploy it, when we talk about the number of visits, so number of times someone's coming to pay you money. So in 2020, the non-loyalty or golfer was visiting us 1.5 times, and a loyalty golfer was visiting us 7.6 times. So that's great. Love it. Year one, but could it be a fluke, right? This could be a fluke. Okay, let's see what happens next year. So 2021, non-loyalty visits, 1.7. Loyalty visits, 11. So on average, they're coming out 11 times paying me versus non-loyalty 1.7. So not only is the average spend going up, the frequency of their visits are going up because of the program. And so this 100%, it works. This works. But a lot of people tend to go the short term as opposed to thinking the long term. And I get it, right? I get it because you're taking a quote unquote risk, but at the same time, you see the value that you're delivering when that golfer is thinking about where to go and they've got $10 in whiskey bucks to spend. Where do you think they're pushing their group to play?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. When you set out to create this new program, like what types of behaviors were you guys trying to create? Like, were you trying to find new customers and acquire them? Were you trying to, collect better data, or were you just trying to, include that kind of retention piece into what you do and, make that more effective? Like, what were the goals for the program? And then have you been successful on all those fronts, or has there been other, results that have come about from implementing the program that maybe you didn't think about in the very beginning?
Yeah. So number one thing was collecting golfer data. We talk about it all the time, right? How do we get golfer 2, 3, 4? How do we get them into our system? How do we get them so we can remarket to them, right? We need a fast, easy way that actually gets used, that isn't some fluff, right? And that was my number one goal. How can I collect more golfer data so that encourages them to come back? And word of mouth is still a thing. So like I said before, if a guy's got $10 in whiskey bucks, what's he telling his guys? We're going to go play here. We get 10% back at Whisky Run Golf Club. Let's go there. I get a beer. Mm-hmm. So that was the main thing, because the golfer data will drive the increase in the spend, which will drive the increase in the visits. And that's what we've seen happen on all fronts. So, and collecting the golfer data, I'll tell you one thing even really surprised me. So in my database over the last 2 years, I have 11,300 golfers who have made a transaction at least one time. And of those, I have 9,300 have opted in to the loyalty club, which is 80%, which I was like, holy shit. Oh, am I allowed to swear on this, Scott?
Absolutely.
For the explicit one. Yeah. But I was like, holy shit. Well, it was good, because it was our main I've been waiting for years to do this. Right. So I was just jamming it down my team's throat. We got to be on top of this. And that's why we went with 10% too, because 10% people see that. Nobody does that. Nobody's doing that. I've got about 60 golf courses within 30 miles, I think, of my golf course. And no one's giving 10% back. No one's got any kind of loyalty program like this. So that's why driving that is going to get that word of mouth, which is going to bring the golfers back. So
you collect the phone number. You're able to communicate with them by text message, I guess.
Yep. Yeah. So it's automated.
And is that something you do pretty frequently to maybe send them additional offers, or just encourage them to come on out? It's going to be sunny this weekend. What does that communication piece look like for these folks?
Yep. So from the loyalty side, it's all automated. They make a purchase. They get if there's a reward, it tells them you got a reward waiting for you. And then in the marketing with Square Marketing, then I can use either transaction or either way, send them, come out this week, anything like that. If I want to do just regular communication, that's how I do it there. The loyalty piece of it really is set it and forget it, which is phenomenal. And, one thing that we wanted to do with it, basically what I wanted to get to and what I've been trying to do with this the whole time is I just wanted to end all discounts, right? Just end the discounts. So stop these sort of, panic mode, sort of shooting from the hip, kind of, okay, let's people, this is maybe a good time to talk about this. We'd run discounts all the time in the past, right? We'd run days where, steep discounts. We talk about even packs, 10 packs, 20 packs, 40 packs, deeply discounted stuff. And is that really loyalty, right? Is that really, that's how we used to think of loyalty is oh, here's my loyalty card. It's a 10 pack, but all it is that's discounted golf, right? That's discounted golf. How can we flip the script and make it about everything? Now, when anybody asks me if I've got a discount, I say, yes. On what? On everything. I've got a discount on everything. I give you 10% back on everything. So you don't got to worry about discounts.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great place to be able to come from when you respond to that question, right?
Yeah. So another point to that. So we don't think twice about like cutting our foot off in other scenarios, but like when we think about a loyalty program, we're like, oh, I can't do that. I'm not going to do that, but I got no problem like giving away X, as a quote unquote promo. Like, but does that really drive loyalty?
No, absolutely. Absolutely. How does the program fit into the mix with everything else that you do at your club? Do you guys have annual members or any other categories of consumer, or are you literally either a daily fee player or you're in the loyalty program? And those are the two channels that you have.
No, we have members. So we have membership, we have public play. We've got a player's card. We've got that kind of stuff that we roll with it. I mean, and everything works with the loyalty. So everything.
So like if you're an annual member, you still can collect the loyalty points.
Absolutely.
On the purchase of your membership, on the meals you have in the restaurant, all that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
So there would be no reason why anybody walking through the doors wouldn't be a part of that loyalty program. That's an absolute win-win for them and for you guys, obviously, too.
Yeah, definitely is. And that was the idea. We wanted as many people as possible to get in there because you can see the value right away, right? When you can see the value right away, the numbers don't lie. The opt-in 80%, like that's unheard of, right? And I mean,
yeah,
like that's, I don't even know what else to say to that.
Very exciting. No, very exciting. Tell us a little bit about some of the mistakes that you were making before specifically, and maybe what you think other clubs that are trying to be successful with a loyalty program are making as well. When it comes to creating a loyalty program, like what are some of those paths that we might have a tendency to go down that we shouldn't? And maybe that's just things like simplicity, or I don't know what it might be, but tell us a little bit about what you think some of the mistakes are that other operators might be making that you were too.
Yeah, I mean, well, I guess what other software allows a loyalty program like this, right? My like I said earlier, like my past software claimed to have it, and honestly, it was useless. It would have been super cumbersome and never would have got used. I wanted it to be fast. I wanted it to be easy. I wanted it to actually be used. So like that's where. So
the technology piece, that's the mistake that might be out there, that, you really need to have the right technology in place, be able to administer this effectively and efficiently.
Yeah. Simplicity and technology. Like first thing is if they're making a mistake, if they're not using Square Loyalty, I think that's a mistake. So,
yeah, no, absolutely.
You get in there. And I mean, the next step would be, we tend to get a little confusing in golf with our offers. So I can hear like other owners stuff I can hear them thinking right now, right? Well, I don't want them to redeem points on this. I don't want them to get points on this, the simplification. And because we ended up confusing the golfer, like it doesn't get used. The more complex you make these things, they just don't get used in anything. Like we can look at it, anything at all. Like even I can go to like our membership offering that we used to have a Whisky Run. We had over 30 different variations of membership, right? And we went down to 5. And we've had more members in the last few years than we've ever had. And that's because it's not confusing. It's hard to sell something when there's all these different options and you got to explain every single one to them. When you make it simple, then it's easier to execute. So
yeah, it's that saying, make it easy for people to do business with you, right?
That's right. Yeah, don't make it difficult. Don't make it difficult for them to pay you. Don't make it difficult for them to earn rewards. Like you're going to have a better opt-in if the guys are seeing the rewards right away, quickly, right? When the golfer sees that after 1 or 2 visits, I'm going to get something, like that's where the value is. And that's where you can get them keep coming back, because they keep coming back, they keep earning. And I mean, the numbers speak for themselves.
Absolutely. Well, you touched on the technology piece, and I know you're really excited about Square and the changes that it's been, able to make for your business. and obviously how Birrdi ties into that. And I know you're really excited about all the work that you and your partners have done on that front. So maybe just tell us a little bit about, Square for you and the implementation of Birrdi, and obviously how that ties into loyalty, but how it's benefited your business in other ways as well. And, let's paint a real clear picture for the listeners about how they can have success like you've had with those pieces of technology in their business.
Sure. Yeah. I like shameless plugs. So absolutely. So I'll say back in 2019, I was ready to basically, I was just fed up with golf industry software. I was out of it. I had like a mini breakdown about it. And then I had a colleague of mine showed me Square. And after about like probably, 40 or 50 hours of diving into it, I was just like, yes, all to this, yes to all this. How do I do it? Wasn't a tee sheet, right? So I'm like, okay, no tee sheet, no online tee sheet. That means no online tee times. I was like, I was honestly, I was ready to go to pen and paper for a tee sheet and use Square for the rest of the business. That's how like committed I was to doing this, because I knew it was going to have a major shift. Even pre-COVID, I knew it was going to have a major shift in our top line rev. So from there, after some digging and finding my partners, we brought Birrdi. Birrdi is the tee sheet that integrates 100% with Square, because Square had everything that I dreamed of, and I needed that tee sheet, that last sort of missing piece for it.
Yeah.
And so like Square 100% handles all the loyalty. Like we integrate with it, so it still works with the tee times. Like just going back to the Square loyalty, I mean, it takes like minutes to set up, and then seconds to get a golfer opted in. And that's where the power is. And I know I've said it a few times, but I can't say it enough. Making it fast, making it easy, making it actually used is where the power of that is. So with Birrdi and Square together and utilizing that loyalty function online, so I have it across every channel, not just in one spot. It's across my whole operation. It just it's really been sort of next level. And one thing actually, because the Square loyalty system works off of phone numbers, one thing we're doing with Birrdi in our next release, or version 2 and coming up in the fall, is we're actually going to a completely mobile number based login system. So gone will be the days of email password. And so that's an exciting thing. Because another thing to say about text messages and like the automated marketing that comes with text messages, for those that don't know, the open rates of text messages are like the emails of the early 2000s, right? Like open rates of text messages are massive compared to what email is now. And kind of leading that direction is going to give you a massive edge.
Very cool. So as a consumer, so basically I come to Whisky Run for the first time. I'm going to use my cell phone number to get into the loyalty program. Mm-hmm. And then from that point forward, like when it comes time to booking a tee time, I just go onto the whiskyrun.com website and I'll use my phone number as kind of my user ID or my login. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. So instead of like having a login password, you just put your phone number in, it sends you a text, click the link, then you're logged in.
And then I can go and I can book my tee time. And yeah. And the thought being that obviously we've got so many username and profiles for all these different websites and such.
Oh yeah.
It's just way easier for a consumer with a cell phone number.
It's endless. Everybody's got a cell phone. When's the last time you left home without your cell phone? Right.
Yeah.
So, not everybody's got email. Not everybody wants to set up another profile. Let me set up another email log. Okay. What was and the worst part is most people end up using the same password for everything, which is just a massive security risk, So it's just like, let's take that out of the equation. So that's, absolutely. That's an exciting piece.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So no doubt you're super happy with, the approach you've taken to your loyalty program. You've got what you feel is the best technology suite in place for not only running a loyalty program, but the rest of your business as well. It's great for you and your team. It's great for the consumer. Where does it go from here? What does the future of your loyalty program look like? Do you keep it simple, like you said earlier, and just it's 10% on everything? Or, are you getting feedback from your consumer base saying, hey, we'd love this or we'd love that? Or do you and your team think there's things you guys might add in the future? Like what's to come for the loyalty program at Whisky Run?
Well, I mean, based on those numbers, what would you do?
Well, I mean, I think there's a lot of common sense in keeping it simple for sure. Right. And so, just being able to say, hey, it's 10% on everything. That makes a lot of sense. I think it's super generous. Yeah. So the consumer must be happy. I think, no doubt you're happy with how, the business has improved. I think top line and bottom line by the sounds of it. No doubt it's made you more profitable. It's given you a great tool to be able to, interact with people and bring them back and give them a compelling reason to choose you over all the other options they have.
That's right.
I just was wondering if maybe like your customers are asking for more. Are they super happy with everything and just love it the way it is?
Well, I think that's a good point because happy golfers spend more, right? Happy golfers are going to spend more. So that's obviously a byproduct, but also, a major goal of that is to keep those golfers happy. For the future of this, I'm planning on doubling down on it, to be honest. Doubling down. Cool. I'm planning on potentially doing some exclusive events for our loyalty club members, planning on blocking off maybe some tee times on some days only for loyalty club members that can only book. And I know other owners might be screaming, no, don't do that. You're giving up revenue. But, I'm not worried.
Yeah. Well, you're creating more value for them, which is in turn going to create more loyalty. And so I kind of think it would just be like a snowball effect. It would just keep getting stronger and stronger, right? So
that's the hope.
That's exciting.
That's the hope.
Yeah,
definitely.
Absolutely. So if somebody in our audience is listening right now, they're a club manager, they're thinking about, what they're going to do in the future from a marketing standpoint, and they're thinking a loyalty program like the one that you have could work well for them. What should they do? Like, what steps should they take next? What do they do first?
Send me a DM. Let's chat at Luke Nieuwland on all the socials. A little shameless plug again. Yeah. I mean, I would toss out the current point of sale system and go with Square. I would think about the long term versus the short term, yearly versus weekly, daily. Let go of your short-term reservations. I know it's difficult always to let go of, our feelings, our emotions towards something. That's something I've been trying to work on over the last few years is when we make these decisions, we do it logic and data driven and really try to take the emotions out of it. Not to say that there's not intuition and other things that we're doing that do have emotion behind it. Absolutely. But as we move forward and as we double down on these things, we're using logic. We're using data.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Well,
listen, Luke, I just wanted to, end today's episode by thanking you so much for joining us. I say this a lot, but I always enjoy our chats. Yeah. I've been super impressed with what you guys have been able to do with your loyalty program and the huge impact that it's made on the business of your club. I think it's to be commended. I think it's super,
thanks, man.
Super interesting to sit back and watch everything you guys are doing. And
thanks, man.
No doubt and I hope there's people in the audience that are able to take some of the ideas that you brought forward today and use them in a positive way in their business. Because that's what we're all about here is trying to share these ideas and these best practices, and
100%.
Hopefully others can benefit from, the things you guys have been doing at their clubs as well. So,
yeah. I will say one more thing. I've been to, and probably yourself, I've been to a lot of the conferences over the years, right? The golf course owners conferences, and, big topic is increasing, the average spend. I get home after the conference, be all jazzed up, ready to go. And that's where I would make all those mistakes of trying all kinds of things. It never worked. Like I said, if a product could help me achieve it, I tried it. So nothing ever worked, man. I struggled. I failed a lot with it. And, I finally figured it out, figured out this sort of holy grail of golf. And now, I absolutely love, sharing it with other courses, because I wish, someone would have shared it with me.
No, well said. I mean, it's one of the things I love about our industry is that there is a lot of people who are extremely giving of their time and their ideas and sharing, what's worked for them. And so that's our hope, like I said before, is that somebody can take a few nuggets away from today and use them in a positive way in their business. And, we've seen you do it firsthand. And so there's no doubt that others can do it too.
100%. 100%.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Well, listen, thanks again for joining us today. I really appreciate it. And thank you to everybody in the audience for joining us as well. And as we like to say here at Golf Industry Guru, we'll see you on the inside.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks for listening to the Gig Podcast. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and mostly that you learned a few things that will help you improve your business. Join us next time as we continue to bring you the best and brightest golf and hospitality leaders on the planet. Thanks for listening.